All right, well, I'm getting tired of these stories, but here we go. More vines out, fewer bottles in. California's wine crisis is pruning itself back for survival. You see what I did there? Hey, wine's new VIPs, millennials, Napa and Sonoma are rolling out the welcome mat. A respected Russian River Valley winery is calling it quits, not in crisis, but just by choice. And Monarch's Tractor collapse is a cautionary tale of hype, hardware, and the hard lessons of agricultural tech. All that and more on this week's episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello and welcome to episode 65 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. We are in March. I am Brett Martin from Cork and Journey. But before I get into this, man, wow. This is a Pinot. I have to tell you, this is just amazing. This is a Cordon Pinot Noir. This is their 2022 La Jaumou. And man, we were in Solvang just bumming around for a weekend for my birthday. Bopped into this tasting room. Happened that the winemaker was there, Etienne Terlinden. It's from Belgium. Just really small batch stuff. He's also a consulting winemaker for a bunch of people in the whole San Ynez Valley in Santa Barbara. We lucked in. We were the only people there. And we started getting into it. And man, I think we've got this picture with Tina with all of the wines that we tasted through with the winemaker there. That was one of those magical things that happens sometimes when you just drop into a tasting room. So shout out to Etienne. Really appreciated you for your hospitality. And you make some absolutely amazing Pinots. I did a blind tasting of a bunch of Pinots with a bunch of people the other day. This one finished in at number 1 out of 11 bottles. Give it a shot. $58. Go find it if you can. And you can. It's there. It's available. I need to run back and get some more myself. Hey, anyway, if you're not familiar with Cork and Journey, we're your number one source for corkage fee information, as well as wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and oh, so much more. With that, let's get right on into this week's wine news. All right. We're going to start off with W. Blake Gray over at Wine Searcher. I'm kind of getting tired of these stories, but they are just everywhere. And I try to find the best ones each week to kind of sum this up. But this is a piece about the California wine industry. You might as well call it the global wine industry because it seems to be the same everywhere. Whether it's old world or new world, everybody's ripping up acreage, letting grapes just rot on the vine. Here is from the article. Yet he was at a little conference the other day with some basically people who should know what's going on and what's going to happen. So what he wrote is, on Tuesday, about 100 people crowded into a conference room in Sacramento to watch a slideshow on how to stop farming wine grapes. That's right. This is where the California wine industry is today. Allied Grape Growers President Jeff Bitter said Wednesday that he hopes California growers rip out about another 40,000 acres of vineyards this year, even though the state has already 40,000 fewer acres than it did 3 years ago. Socolin Vineyard or Screaming Eagle Vineyards, they're not being ripped out. They're fine. But Cabernet Sauvignon vineyards in outlying areas of Napa might be, like all over Sonoma County. Growers who have been seeing their grapes go into 90-point wines in the past are wondering if it's time to give it up and grow apples or Christmas trees instead. Let's hope not. But yet again, another wow, we overbuilt, we overdid this, and, like commercial real estate, I guess. Anyway, we'll see. Now we're here in 2029 will be the turnaround. Maybe we'll see some stuff in 2028. Let's hope. All right. By the way, now's the time to buy a vineyard if you want, though, because, man, they're cheap. Buy beautiful estates. People just getting out, bailing. All right, we're going to head over to the Robb Report. And Mike DeSimone and Jeff Jensen have an article about how Napa and Sonoma wineries are shifting strategies for millennial tastes. The theory is that now millennials have become the number one consumers of wine because boomers are dying. And as they die, the millennials are kind of coming in, and they are the generation that are going after it. So They're saying, hey, how do we cater to them? What do we do? Let's have different tasting room experiences, branding, I don't know, make great wine. Anyway, from the article, despite all the hand-wringing of late that millennials ruined wine, they now surpass baby boomers, America's largest wine-drinking generation. And in a plot twist that has surely surprised producers of ready-to-drink cocktails, spiked seltzer, and cannabis drinks, Gen Z is enjoying wine more frequently as well. I knew it. Just depends on the week and the article and the survey. Anyway, as difficult as selling wine has become in the past several years, this generational shift provides unique opportunities for wine producers to attract young consumers to their brands. With a variety of tactics, a one-size-fits-all approach is unlikely to be effective, says Wine Market Council President Liz Thatch. The most successful brands will tailor their outreach with a different language, visuals, and channels. That said, we are seeing consistent focus on sustainability and authenticity, two values that figure strongly with the millennial and Gen Z ethos. Whatever. Anyway, just make good wine, give a good tasting room experience, price it reasonably, and you will be successful. All right, moving on over at the Wine Spectator. Arista Wine says adieu. Marianne Warobik, hope I pronounced that correctly, is reporting that Arista Winery, a family-run Russian River Valley producer, almost 25 years, amazing Pinot, amazing Chardonnay. They basically sold their estate property a while back, and after kind of kicking it around, the two brothers, Mark and Ben McWilliams, decided to wind down operations. Their father's still alive. He's 80. He started it. They've been running it for quite a while. They kind of wanted to cash in on the real estate, so they sold all the land underneath. And they also have some very other successful businesses as well. And so they are just shutting the whole thing down. Sad, but true. From the article, the brothers are releasing their 2023 vintage wines as normal this year and their 2024s next year. There are plans to do more events on the road and in Sonoma to celebrate with their customers. We want to make it celebratory, not like, man, this is so sad. Like, it's sad, but there's an element of that. But we're absolutely at peace. He adds that he wants to give credit to the winemaking team of Matt Courtney and assistant winemaker Gordon Miller. They have made exceptional wines, and it's been such a joy to be the platform those guys really got to show their talent and passion. By the way, if you're a fan of Arista Wines, the article also says Courtney confirms he will be focusing on his own wine brand, Farron, as well as Voltaire, Amacy, and other consulting products. He will be joining Harper's Rest team as a consulting winemaker. So, find that winemaker. You like those wines? Check those brands out. Arista may be gone, but there you go. All righty, and kind of wrapping it up on a sad news. We talked about this, God, it has to be over a year ago. But over at Wine Business Monthly Report, Cyril Penn is talking about the complete collapse of Monarch Trailer. This is a crazy one. This is one of the Mondavis was involved. This Carlo, I want to say, should be in this article somewhere. They raised $220 million. Basically we're selling hundreds of tractors, and they basically just shut it all down. The reports are that the tractors failed to perform as promised. Dealers are suing, customers are stranded, and inventory is headed into liquidation. From the article, one Canero-based winemaker said his boss purchased 2 Monarch tractors, but described his frustration that the machines got stuck, lacked power, and weren't compatible with his tractor attachments. He said Monarch staff didn't help and didn't seem to understand farming. This is a weird part. So this is an electric tractor that they built as autonomous. So basically these tractors just go out through the vineyards and do everything the tractors needed to do in the vineyards. Continuing on, a former sales manager for Monarch told Wine Business Monthly that in his opinion, in hindsight, the company should have treated Monarch as a prototype. Looking back, people should have been made aware and been made part of the journey rather than being sold a complete, ready-to-go type product. The tractor is really a computer on wheels, and all the systems aren't speaking the same language when you have firmware and software updates. Sad, because it was kind of, basically this great little carbon neutral, beautiful tractor out there, electric, autonomous, could do a lot of things. And, I'm sure they'll get there one day, but it looks like Monarch is not going to win that race. All right. And with that, let's get to our wine and winery of the week. Have I told you how good this wine is? My goodness, I'm in love with it. All right. We are going to go to Allegretto Winery Experience. This is a hotel in Paso Robles that also has a tasting room on property, and they have their own winery. If you're in Paso, I would say this is the place to stay. It's got great restaurants, great tasting room, beautiful hikes you can do. It's an all-around good place. No scenic views for the tasting room. It's kind of inside in a nice little courtyard area that you should have reservations. You don't really need them. Price range is $30 to $45. It's, stop in there, but mostly I would say stay at the hotel because it's a great launch pad from there to the rest of Paso Robles. And then our wine of the week, we're going to go to Napa. And I have an empty bottle of this left. I kept it so much. This is the Curly St. James Ostentatious Parlay. Winemaker Sam Smith has just only made a few vintages of this. 2013, we rated it 93 points, $125 a bottle. I just looked when we were doing this, and there's a 2016 vintage. So I don't know if he's hanging on to him for a long time or he's just done a couple vintages, but it is still available. And if you just Google Curly St. James wine, you'll find the link. You might want to pick up a bottle. I actually picked up a bottle. I want to see how it compared to this and where it's going. I'll let you know. One of the things I love about this wine, though, is the story. The Ostentatious Parlay. So I want to give you this is what's on their website. I'll read this to you, kind of like a news article. While working as a sommelier in Tasmania, I was asked by visitors from the United States to describe the process it takes to make a bottle of wine. It was a great question. The truth is that it's a long list of processes that most of us never consider when enjoying your favorite bottle. I explained prosaically that it begins with acquiring great land with suitable soil and then planting the right vines. Next, wait several years for the vines to mature. Harvest the grapes, crush them, make the wine. Follow this with bottling, waiting several more years to let the wine mature. And then you have something you can begin to sell. Each stage counts on the success of the previous one, and everything can be lost at any step along the way. It's a huge gamble comprised of many individual bets. One guest replied with the perfect synopsis of winemaking. Well, that's quite a bet. With all the moving parts, it's a parlay, really. In fact, I'd say it's an ostentatious parlay. There it was, the journey from land to bottle, the ultimate ostentatious parlay. That's what every winemaker goes through. I think that's why we love wine so much. That's why I love wine. That's why I love talking to winemakers, talking to people in the wine world, because, man, it is a lot that goes into that. It's not like making beer. It's not like making spirits. It's none of that. It is a complete, all immersive journey, and that's why us wine lovers love it so much. That, off my soapbox, let's get to the restaurant and corkage of the week. All right, so you're in Paso. You're staying at Allegretto. You've just done a tasting there. You're staying there. You're like, I've already had lunch at that hotel. Where can I have a great, great, great dinner? Well, there is a Michelin star restaurant winery in Paso, and believe it or not, it is Justin. And it is, it's expensive, but it is amazing. It is right in the middle of all the vineyards. It can't be any better. I will tell you, no corkage is allowed. You're not going to do it anyway. You're going to do the tasting menu with the wine pairings, and the wine pairings are all going to be Justin, and it's all going to be great. Everybody's going to be happy. But if you are there, it is worth it. If you can get reservations, do so. Would do it again. The food is excellent. The wine pairings are superb. Worth it across the board. Justin makes bulk wine, but they also make some really nice small batch stuff. And so we're checking that out if you can. That's Justin in Paso Robles. No corkage allowed. Of course, you're Justin. You're at the winery. The pairings, anyway, you got it. And one of the few places, though, the wine list, I don't even think had anything but Justin on it. Can't remember. It was one of those weird ones. Something like that jumped out at me. Might be wrong. Check me on that. Hey, and for the corkage of the week, let's go to Les Petites Canailles in Paso Robles. This is one of our favorite restaurants there as well. It's in downtown, $30 per bottle, 2-bottle minimum. This is another place you must stop at. And if we don't have a Paso guide, it'll be coming soon. We're revamping all of our guides on the website. All right, with that, another episode of This Week Uncorked is in the bag. Hey, everybody, until next week, please subscribe to us on YouTube. follow us on social media, save your favorite podcast app. Check out that interview down below let's go with Jack Galante, just down the street in Carmel Valley, okay, with Galante Vineyards. Fantastic. Till next week, everybody. Cheers.